Nope.
Oh, there we go. Hello. um, Welcome back to Soxy Chicks. It's been a bit, but we decided we needed to come on and talk about this trade deadline. So I am Chrystal O'Keefe,
And I'm Bayleigh von Schneider.
and yeah, hey, what's up? Not a lot going on in our baseball world, so
Well, there's actually a little more going on in my world today because they announced that the Red Sox signed Alex Cora to a 3-year, $7 million per year extension. So he's here to stay, which I feel like has to be a good thing for at least like the future of the Red Sox when it pertains to spending, because he could have become a free agent and literally gone anywhere, and any team would have handed him a blank check. So I'm hoping that, like front office Craig Brezzo, maybe even like the ownership cares a little bit more, and maybe like 2025 and beyond, when our young guys are really, because they're like knocking on the door, maybe they'll actually take that step forward and spend again, unlike what they haven't done since like about like 2018. I feel like.
yeah. Oh, I'm sure that soon enough the White Sox will announce that they have given Pedro Gafal a lifetime extension. And that Jerry is actually immortal. So
Yeah, it's going nowhere. I mean, how old is he now?
87, I think. He is pretty much my grandpa's age. And my grandpa has like dementia.
Yeah, I shouldn't be making big decisions about, $1 billion organization, right?
$2 billion. I mean, he also runs the Bulls.
That's right. He does own the Bulls too, right? Did he own the Bulls when like the Bulls were good with Jordan?
He did.
Okay, all right. So there was so I think he'll probably be the kind of person to be like, "Look what I did to the Bulls 1,000 years ago, and enjoy your beautiful ring that I got you in 2005," which feels like 1,000 years ago at this point too.
Oh, he just turned 88 this year. Yeah, my grandpa will be 88 in like 2 weeks. So yeah.
The same, yeah. So yeah.
He's older than my grandpa.
Oh my God, that's crazy. Yeah, he's probably never going to die and never going to sell the team. So I'm sorry that Andrew Benintendi is the largest free agent contract our team has ever given out. Like, the Red Sox, we could kind of like complain about like the recent lack of spending, but there were times where we were handing $217 million to David Price. So like we've given huge contracts. We gave an extension of like $330 million to Rafael Devers. So we're not afraid of giving money out. It's just it really hasn't come in the free agent realm like in what, like 7 years or so. So it's like we're kind of just waiting, but then again, you've been waiting your entire life. So.
It's it's fun. We've been playing the Rangers this series, and I'm just sitting here like, remember when Marcus Semien was on the White Sox?
Yeah.
I mean, they got him twice. Like, remember when Bryce Harper was supposed to come here? And I'm just like going down this like memory lane of, gosh, we just can't do anything right.
Yeah, wasn't it like the Phillies and the White Sox? But then it seems strange because the White Sox had never handed that kind of money out to anybody.
No, yeah, it was between the two. And at the United Center, this was a picture and it's legit. It was going around, but at the United Center, you know how like they always have like that kind of strip across the level? Yeah. It said, "Welcome Bryce Harper," with like I can't remember what the number was, but like a number that was going to be his number. And then the next day he's with the Phillies. And I'm like,
well, I mean, he made the right decision, because would they have built around him? Like, at least Philadelphia had young prospects. They went and like added a Trey Turner in. Like, would they have added to Bryce Harper? Like,
I think they would. I mean, because again, at this time, Luis Robert is very young. Yohan Moncada is very young. Eloy's very young. So
there is a core. There was a core there that just didn't pan out the way that you would have hoped to. Like certain things, like Moncada getting COVID, I think was just a huge aspect in his game, and that's unfortunate.
He's never recovered from that either. Yeah. He's brittle now. So, I mean, they had the pieces for him. They just weren't going to give him the money. You got to spend some to win some.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, speaking of teams that have spent money, we could talk. I mean, not every team that spent money. The Red Sox are looking disgusting today, getting shellacked. Last time I checked, 13-3 to the absolutely terrible Colorado Rockies, about to lose the series.
I was going to say.
Series to the Colorado Rockies. Got swept by the Dodgers. Have looked like absolute butt since the break, but there are things to like. I feel like these last two series have showed what's needed to actually be able to compete this year, and they have dealt with even more injuries. Like Chris Martin is on the IL, Justin Slayton is on the IL. So those are like two. If those two were healthy, we potentially take two from the Dodgers. So like, but I'm still so terrified because of my mindset of been like, you know, the 2022 and the 2023 deadline of them just not even selling or not even going for it and really not making up their mind. I'm still terrified that they're not going to do anything to actually help them when they've proven like time and time again that they deserve it. And they're a team that didn't really spend any money, and they'll be hopefully looking to add this year. I mean, at this deadline, but I think it's like the Red Sox can do stuff at this deadline. I feel that it's not going out and it's not trading for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. or anything crazy or getting Tarik Skubal. Like, I think that they can do things like poaching a guy from you. I think an Erick Fedde would fit well into this, and that's somebody who's not going to cost you. I don't think, at least, again, we don't really know what the market's going to be, but I don't think he's going to cost you a top 5 prospect in your system to go out and get him. But that helps you because today, you know, it like abysmal starting pitching. For some reason, Nick Pivetta just doesn't know how to pitch in a high altitude. He got shellacked. Apparently, he's pitched 10 innings in his career. In Colorado, he's given up 20 earned runs.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe you figure out something to not maybe start him, try to move people around. But I think you can add in somebody like that. But what's really the Red Sox desperately need right now, and if they don't get it, I think that they will fade quickly. They need a high leverage bullpen arm. I need like a Tanner Scott. And again, I don't want to say I don't care what it costs, because I do actually care what it costs. You're not getting any of my big three. You're not getting a Meyer. You're not getting a Teal. You're not even going to get like a Christian Campbell from me for Tanner Scott. So like, let alone you know, an Anthony Teal or Meyer, but somebody like top 10, a little lower, yeah, go out. I need a high leverage guy, because otherwise, like today, I'm like terrified to check because it's probably like 15-3 at this point.
It is in the bottom of the 6th. I just looked.
Yeah, because we're throwing guys named Bailey Horn out there. Like, so it's stuff like that. Like, you're gonna. Oh, Anderson's in there now. So our as Ed Hand says, the human victory cigar white flag is out there now, and it's the white flag, and it's waving like this.
Good.
So, get me. Geez, you gotta
get me, guys.
You gotta get me a starter. You gotta get me bullpen help, and you gotta get me a right-handed hitter, preferably. Like, again, I don't need somebody crazy. You can go out and you can get me a Justin Turner. Bring him back. Somebody who can play the corner infield, can DH. He's a right-handed. Because they're terrible. They've also just been facing a lot of lefties recently, and it's really exposing how terrible they are. I'm pretty sure that an 8-year-old who throws left-handed could get the Boston Red Sox out right now. Like, it's pretty bad. So those are some of the things that I would like to see. So I think it's potential. I think you could see Justin Turner return. I don't know, even maybe try to package like a Yusei Kikuchi with a Justin Turner, see what, you know, that package could potentially be. And then you've got a left-handed, because we also don't have a lefty starter. So like, you maybe get me the two of them and then go and get me like a Tanner Scott, and I'll be beyond happy. Really, as long as you don't touch my top 5, the rest of them can go. I really don't care at this point. You know, the only, like, you know, and a lot of people will say, well, what if you can get somebody really good? Again, the only person that you give the best prospect in baseball at the time, Yoan Moncada, for is literally 2017 version of Chris Sale. Outside of that, I don't want it. Like, and I don't want you giving up that amount of talent. to get somebody who's not vintage Chrystal, who again, of course, is vintage this year, and he should be on my friggin' team. But I don't think he'd be performing this way here. I think he needed a change of scenery, like
Yeah. Well, and I mean that's the same. Reynaldo Lopez is right down there with him.
Yeah.
I had faith in him. I knew he could do it, but the White Sox just did not know
what to do.
Yeah, they didn't know how to fix the arm, and now he's in Atlanta, one of the best pitchers in baseball right now, period. And I mean, I see this with our pitchers constantly. We get rid of a pitcher and they are phenomenal elsewhere. I mean, Chris Sale, Reynaldo Lopez, Dylan Cease, Lance Lynn, like everybody really, but Dallas Keuchel, who technically he was DFA'd, so that doesn't matter. But like all of our pitching talent, the second they're going to another team, they're just incredible. So I am.
But speaking of your biggest pitching talent, how do you feel about Crochet? Do you think he's definitely getting traded? And where do you think potentially his landing spots could be?
Yeah, I do. I feel like he'll be gone. Mm-hmm. Right now, and I wrote this in my notes, Dodgers just DFA'd James Paxton.
Yeah.
Almost all of their pitchers are on the injured list right now. I mean, Clayton Kershaw's out all year. Tyler Glasnow has been out. I mean, just
I call him Glass now because my God, he's never not hurt. I feel like
it's one of those things where if you told me that he was actually Cillian Murphy recording something and that's why he's never available, I would believe it.
Yeah.
Because he's really just never there.
He's really not. He's not. He's like, sorry, I gotta go make Oppenheimer. So,
right. Like, what are you filming now?
Put me on the IL. But yeah, no, it's crazy. But that's what I said because Paxton pitched a really good game against the Red Sox. But again, like I said, an 8-year-old could do that.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see him have pitched a pretty solid game against the Red Sox to then get DFA'd. I mean, the confidence has to be sky high that the Dodgers are gonna get somebody like Garrett Crochet.
Yeah. I think that's probably what is going to land, especially because they have lefties.
Get richer. And
I know. Lefties are out right now. He's probably the best lefty in the league. And obviously the White Sox are wasting his time and potential because they're just stuck in this perpetual rebuild. Like every season, it's Groundhog Day all over again.
It's crazy. But when I keep thinking about what the Dodgers can do, and like, I mean, they acquired Glasnow this last offseason. I understand their farm system is great, but it seems like it's never not great that they can just keep doing these things. They could trade for Mookie Betts. They could trade for Tyler Glasnow. They could go and get Garrett Crochet, and then they can throw $300 million at Yamamoto, who, I mean, it's not looking great this year, mainly because he's on like, what, the 60-day?
Yeah, he's on the 60-day.
So he's most likely not coming back at all this season. But I mean, it's just like it seems like the rich get richer, and I know they've dealt with a lot of injuries too. Like outside of right now, because I know Mookie's out. So you have Shohei Ohtani, you have Hernandez. Like Teoscar's been on a tear since post the break, and then of course they have Freddie Freeman. But like outside of those three, it's like a AAA lineup, and of course the Red Sox couldn't beat them. Still, so everybody's like, "Oh, the Dodgers! It's the Dodgers!" It's not the Dodgers. It's 3 guys and then a AAA lineup, and their pitching's not even that great right now. But they have such a cushion in their division, and they're getting like they're gonna probably get Betts back soon. They're gonna get Glasnow back relatively soon. So I mean, they have these reinforcements coming back, but then just knowing that we can just go out and we can get Garrett Crochet. It must be nice. It must really be nice to be like a Dodgers fan. Like what 2017 on, like right. Nice. I mean, they got the little Mickey Mouse ring in there, and I know they really want a real one.
They're almost at 600. That is wild. I had to go check and see, and it's closest are Padres, 8.5 games back. The Padres are another team though that have really expressed interest in Crochet.
Yeah, because the thing is that AJ Preller is a psycho, and he's gonna always, even if his team shouldn't be making moves, he's going to be making moves. So it wouldn't shock me. Imagine if there's like a Crochet Cease reunion in San Diego.
I would somehow become a Padres fan. I'm gone. Thank you. Yeah,
you're like no longer the White Sox, but it's just proved that like people that are true White Sox fans deal with this. Like,
Yeah.
and it's crazy. It just makes me hate Red Sox fans more and how much they bitch and moan. I'm like, what if you were a diehard Oakland Athletics fan? What if you were a diehard Chicago White Sox fan? Like, that's truly like horrible to just have like owners that just don't seem to give a shit about this product. People could complain about John Henry. Like, for fuck's sake, you've seen 4 world championships in your lifetime, fans. Like, it's crazy. And it's just the spoiled mentality. And yeah, we've seen a lot of, for like the 4 championships, they have more last place finishes. But like, I'll take the 4 championships. Like, really, I don't care. So it's just good on you and every White Sox fan out there. I'm proud that you guys are as dedicated to this team as you can be. And I hope that the grass will be greener on the other side, maybe in 10 years. Who knows?
I mean, it's coming up on 20 years since the last
time.
World Series.
Yeah.
Won. Which doesn't make me feel great because I was graduating high school and going into college that year.
Yeah, I know. It just puts things into perspective, right? And you're like, oh, I was so young. Or when I vividly remember the Red Sox winning in 2004, I was a freshman in high school, and I just have like people that I work with now that are like, I was 4 years old then. Like, what? And then I just like sit there and I'm like, oh. So it's crazy just to think about how young I was when that actually happened. And thankfully I've seen 4 in there, and even though they're like, God, what it was, I'm just thinking like it's gotta be like 17. Let's see, is it 17? I'm saying 17-3. Oh, it's 19-3. Pardon me. So outside of this literal bitch slap, they've been pretty good this year. Oh my God. But I just have to say one more thing before we jump into it. I will say that I hate Cal Quantrill because he is a little bitch. So there was a fight that started in this game as well because Reese McGuire, who I don't know why this man is still on my team, but that's beside the point.
Why he's still in baseball.
Yeah, he's so bad. But he hit what he does, popped out, and he was like looking at it a little bit to see, oh, is it going to fall in? And Cal Quantrill like passed him. And instead of just barking at him or whatever, he brought up the fact that Reese McGuire had been arrested for jerking off in a parking lot and screamed at him, why don't you go jerk off in a parking lot, you asshole? And I'm like, that is so uncalled. You've never seen a man run so fast. McGuire was like this. Next thing you know, Jarren Duran must have heard it or something because he's coming after Quantrill. And what does Quantrill do? Runs to the dugout while everybody's fighting for him.
It's hilarious, but also such a bitch move at the same time.
It is. It's like, oh, you think you're funny, but like, dude, he didn't do anything, and it's Reese McGuire. Why are you fighting Reese McGuire?
He's gonna be like DFA'd in no time. What are we doing here?
Dude, it's because you're such a pussy that you can't pick a fight with Jarren Duran, who's the only person that's been amazing post All-Star break for the Red Sox.
Yeah, seriously.
Like, it's crazy. This guy's gonna finish with like a 7 WAR. It's insane. And I would have said, honestly, like most Red Sox fans, yeah, trade him to the Padres for Ha-Seong Kim. We could use a shortstop. Because he never showed me anything of like this caliber. He's like a top 10 player in baseball. It's insane. Absolutely insane. So no, nobody's getting Jarren Duran in a trade. But Garrett Crochet, I think he's gonna go to the Dodgers. Is that what you're thinking too?
That was my guess.
I said potentially in a package for them to also get Michael Kopech because they think that they could probably fix him. Because, he's hitting 102, so they get a nice little package, get themselves like a nice little, because they need bullpen help. They need bullpen help. They need starting help. And I think a little package for the two of them, why not, right? Dodgers.
Every single time I hear that Taylor Swift song, I Can Fix Them. No, really, I can. I think of Michael Kopech now, especially at the very end. She's like, whoa, maybe I can. I'm like, this is him. So this is about him. Does she watch White Sox baseball?
Maybe secretly. She's a huge White Sox fan.
Oh, poor girl. Like, she's got the Phillies. That's where she's from.
I know, right? I remember, I think during the Phillies, like 2006 World, when they, no, what year were they? It was like 08.
Yeah.
They were there, I think. that they like had her because she wasn't super famous at this point. I think Taylor Swift like sang the national anthem.
She probably did
during like one of the World Series that they were in, either like 8 or 9. But I think it may have been the year that they won. I think it was like 2008. And she's obviously like she's famous then, but she's not like mega superstar. Even like your obscure aunt knows who she is, like famous. So I'm pretty sure she like sang at the Phillies, and people always forget because she tries to claim that she's from Nashville.
Yeah, no, she's from Philly. Like her dad's a big Eagles fan.
Yeah, so
I wouldn't surprise me if her dad managed to get her in to do that.
Right? And be like, hey, do this. But yeah, so I think the rich are going to get richer. I think the Los Angeles Dodgers are going to get Garrett Crochet and maybe Michael Kopech. That's what I'm thinking too. At least they're probably going to add others as well. But I think from the pitching standpoint, I could very much see the two of them going there.
Yeah. Well, before we actually bust this down, let's take a very quick break to get paid. All right, we are back. Thank you for listening to an ad if it was inserted there in that clip. Okay. Let's see. What do I even have in my notes?
Yeah, what teams do you have that you think are going to be making some noise, you know?
I mean, well, I have one other that's going to the Dodgers. I think Randy Rosarina, who is going to go there because they desperately need someone in the outfield. His bat is on fire, and he just fits into that like mold of superstar talent that they occasionally have.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it does make sense. And, you know, they saw him go off on them in the 2020, World Series as well. He does seem like he could be a good fit there. I potentially also have like, I know it'd be like trading within the division, but the Yankees, I think, are desperate because they're real bad. For a team that has as many wins as they have, they're really bad.
For a team that has Aaron Judge.
Yeah. I mean, literally, Juan Soto came out the other day and says, well, a team needs to be more than 2 guys. Like, Juan Soto knows that this team is literal dog shit if they don't get help. But I don't know how much, like, I don't really know. I think just so many people in the Yankees are just like underperforming. Yeah. Like, do you get rid of Alex Verdugo and then like replace him with like a Randy Arozarena, or do you bring Randy in to just strictly DH? Because I think that they need another big bat in that lineup because man, it's bad. It's really bad. Really like I say that as my team is potentially 20-3. I'm seeing how I'm just still 19. Still 19. Go for a round number, Colorado. Like, what are you doing? Go for a round number.
It would be better if it was 20-4 since they're in Colorado anyway.
Yeah. God, man, that ballpark is just.
I might go see it next.
I want to go
late summer.
I was like, oh, maybe I go for these 3 games. Good thing I didn't.
No.
That's my fear is when I travel and to watch the Red Sox. I'm like, I really want them to win. Otherwise, these other fans are just going to be like little shits.
That's why I don't travel necessarily to see the White Sox. I travel to see ballparks.
Exactly. There you go.
If the time syncs up, I don't really care who they're playing. So
I get it. But it's cool to like see them, but outside of Fenway. But yeah, at times I'm just like, oh, what if I go all the way there and they lose these games? Then I'm just angry. So then I'll be tainted of like what my trip was. So
didn't have to. I dealt with the A's twice. Who did the Giants play? I don't remember, but yeah, we dealt with the A's twice in Oakland and Seattle.
Oh, poor Oakland. Brent Rooker is somebody that I don't know if he's going to get traded. I would kill to have Brent Rooker. Like, I don't know how he wasn't an all-star. Like, there were a lot of guys that I was like, how are these people not all-star? How is Brent Rooker? It's like a 950 OPS. Like, it's crazy.
What? Oh, yeah, they only had Mason Miller?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like, I know everybody has to have like one representation, so sometimes that takes away from other guys. But you're telling me that the Phillies had like 8 effing players, and they could have even had more because I don't even think Wheeler even made the All-Star team, which is just crazy to me. That like, okay, so you can trot out 8 Philadelphia Phillies, but for some reason you can't get Brent Rooker to the All-Star game. I don't know. Just absolutely frustrating. I hate the All-Star game when it comes to the idea of like the guys that truly don't deserve to go, or some guys get in that shouldn't even have gone to the All-Star game, and then they stop the All-Star game because fan voting is just, I hate it.
Yeah, fan voting is kind of the worst.
Yeah, it's truly like just I don't know. Whoever has the best numbers should be going there.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it is a fanfare thing, so that's why it's like, well, every team should have a rep, but like sometimes Brock Holt ends up going to the All-Star game because the Red Sox were just terrible in, I think, 2015, and they needed some representation, and he was like the best one on the team that year. So, but it's cute that like, you know, Brock Holt forever can say, hey, I've been an All-Star. So that's always fun. That's always fun.
I know the A's will not let anyone touch Mason Miller.
Yeah, I'm like thinking, I was like, and they shouldn't, but do you think that somebody is like, I don't know, I'm like trying to think that, you know, like Dumbo, like Dave Dombrowski is like crazy enough to just give what he has left of a non-great farm system to try to get like Mason Miller or something? Like, that's the thing, is like Dave Dombrowski will do crazy things. So that's why I potentially see Luis Robert Jr. going to Philly.
Yeah, he's one I could see him going somewhere, but at the same time, say they get rid of Crochet and Fedde, they have no one if they also get rid of Luis Robert. They have no.
And is Andrew Vaughn going to be on the trade block too? Like, do you think it's like everybody's just going to pillage? Like,
I don't know that anybody really wants Andrew Vaughn.
It's true. And it's the same thing like Benintendi. Everybody's like, oh, they're going to trade Benintendi. I'm like, who wants Benintendi? It's like a 63 WSC plus, like last time I checked.
I have heard Paul DeJong. I have heard Tommy Pham. The Orioles seem interested in Tommy Pham, and I'm like, oh, okay. Obviously, Garrett, Crochet, Erick, Fedde, Michael Kopech has been one. Luis Robert obviously has been one, and those are the only teams.
Who comes up? Like, who do you have people at AAA that, I mean, it doesn't even matter if they're ready or not, but like that's potentially like a good portion of your team that can be traded. Will they be traded? And how much, like, is it going to be worth it? Like, is it going to be like, okay, we'll give you all of these people for like Luis Robert, and then can you really say no? But I mean, it seems like it's mostly your team that people want to sort of like send away.
Yeah, I mean, we already have 2 AAA pitchers up. Jonathan Cannon, who's been fine, and Drew Thorpe, who I think is going to be very good. I have said it a million times. He is like the second coming of Dylan Cease, and it's not just because he has a really sweet mustache. Like, he's this like zen, calm player. He does not show emotion, and his pitches are beautiful. And I think he's the next Dylan Cease, and he would be great to build around. But we have plucked almost everything we can out of the farm team right now.
Yeah, I think you would have to, in a trade, get somebody that's major league ready.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they're not as good as like a Luis Robert or a Garrett Crochet, but there's somebody that you can just plug in there, because I think that'd be the only way that you could salvage what's left of the season for the Chicago White Sox. And it's not even fair that anymore that like you could be this bad and you're still not guaranteed the best pick. I don't like the lottery now. I hate the lottery. Like, Cleveland had no business yet. I think they had like a 3% chance of somehow getting that first pick. I mean, then they're Cleveland. They didn't even pick the best player because money. But still, like, the idea is like, oh, you get this. I don't like lotteries. I just don't at all. I feel like, but I guess they think it gives incentive that you should invest in your major league team, because it doesn't matter if you're terrible. You may not get the best pick anymore. But still, I don't like it. I mean, who knows? I might like it if somehow that 3% the Red Sox end up with like the first pick ever. But, you know, it's like, who's going to be as good as like, I mean, I sit here and I think about how lucky Pittsburgh is to have gotten Paul Skeens. Like, ugh, I hate it. Like, I want it. I want, like, there's no, like, that it's electric. It's just electric from, you know, he's just been so good. And it's not even like, oh, he's kind of okay. No, still don't think he should have started the All-Star game. I think that was all gimmicky, but it is what it is. The All-Star game itself is a gimmick, but he's been everything that they have said that he will be. And it's like, God, what's that? What's it like just having like a pitching prospect come up and you're like, oh hot damn. Hasn't happened since John Lester for the
Yeah.
Boston Sox. And I never even went, oh hot damn, anytime John
No.
pitched either. Like, John Lester was a solid 2-3. But the Red Sox still haven't even developed a 2-3.
Mhm.
So imagine developing a Paul Skeens, like, oh, what's that like?
I got to see him in person.
Did you?
Like, I got to see his last minor league start. I
We're just
know.
completely overmatched like we're all those guys just not knowing what to do.
Basically, like, I didn't even know that it was going to be his last start. I was there because, I mean, it was his day. Obviously, I wanted to see him, but Yasmani Grandal was rehabbing, and I'm just like, if I can
see us,
look at that in person, I'm going to. And then Alex Manoah was also rehabbing. So I had like 2 like major league pitchers there, and Yasmani Grandal. So I got to see his very last one.
It's pretty cool. I'm jealous. I would love to see him in
He's
person.
great.
Hopefully he gets actual butts in the seats at PNC, because that's also the most beautiful ballpark I've ever been to. So go.
Even if that team's bad, that ballpark is always full.
Ballpark's so nice.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard not to. And then just show up for Paul Skeens, because that's something to see for sure. So in what, like 3 years, when they're ready to trade him? Because I don't know if Pittsburgh's ever going to be good, even with Paul. So the idea of just wait, it was like when they at least didn't waste Garrett Cole there. They traded him to Houston. So I was like, maybe, and he at least made, the only World Series that Garrett Cole has been to, he was not in pinstripes, and that just it warms.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that.
He's pitched in a World Series, and it was with the Houston Astros.
That's actually really funny.
I
have the Astros making some moves actually too.
Yeah. Who do you have? Who do you have going?
Where are they? So I have the Astros going for both pitching and first base. And I said, the Astros could easily pluck one from either of the Chicago teams. They could go for Fedde. They could go for Jameson Talion from the Cubs.
That's who I have. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I thought those were good. And, say they don't get Fedde, I think Fedde could go to the Guardians too. I think they would steal him in a heartbeat, especially because they are division rivals. And then I said Vlad Jr. to kind of make up for that abysmal Jose Abreu experiment where he was.
That would be crazy, because
past his prime.
Yeah. That was, oh God, I felt. And I remember, like, there were Red Sox fans that were like screaming when they didn't sign him, and then he just gets like literally like, what did he get, released or DFA'd? Like, he just got straight, like, they're like, bye, and I'm like, shit. So that was a huge.
Tim Anderson got DFA'd recently.
He did too. Yeah, that's right. Even the Marlins don't want you. Holy shit.
Jake Berger's not doing hot. Like I said, our pitchers, great.
Good position players.
Position players, trash.
Yeah, I could see. I'm just, because I keep thinking about like some of the players that I don't think are going to get traded. Like, I don't know if I see a Bo Bichette or a Vladdy Jr. getting traded.
I would love to see Bo. I don't see Bo moving.
Yeah, because like there are people are like, okay, are they? Because people think that Bo Bichette is potentially a guy that could really stand to have a change of scenery, And Vladdy had he was cold for most of the half, but he's been like really heating up lately, and he's great. So I would hate that though, because I hate that Houston is suddenly great again, because I thought this was the year that it was like, oh, it's done, they're trash, and now it's like, and they're doing it with like out really pitching. They've had like 3 of their starters go down. They just got Justin Verlander back. So I could see a Jameson Taillon going there. I could also see them potentially taking a chance on Jordan Montgomery to see if they can get maybe anything, even though he's been bad. We're talking like a 6.11 ERA, 5.16 xERA, a 4.30 FIP. Like, he's been bad. But I think a lot of that was like Snell was bad, and Snell's been starting to do a little bit better lately. And I think a lot of it has to do with that these guys held out for pretty much the money they they thought they were going to get and didn't end up getting, and really lost the development of spring training. So I think that really hurt Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery. So maybe they're thinking, like, a team like Houston is like, hey, we're desperate for pitching. Maybe he will take a corner, and like, look what he did last year for Texas in the second half. Maybe they could be hoping for that, and then you probably don't have to give as much up. And Houston's farm system is kind of depleted at this point. They don't really have much in there because, they've spent 7 years of being great. And now, can they make it 8 in a row to the ALCS? Like,
I worry. You mentioned, like, you would hate seeing Vlad there. Pete Alonso is also a free agent at the end of this season.
That's a good point. They do.
And
the Mets, though, I just feel like the Mets are going to Met, and they think because everybody's almost in on it in the National League that I think they shouldn't add, but I think they might.
They might, yeah.
But that does seem like a good little spot for him, doesn't it?
I just fear, like, that is one of my deepest fears right now, that he is going to be in Houston next season, and I hate that. Well, I mean, I can't do that.
It was like when Trey Mancini got traded there, barely played, but then somehow gets a World Series ring. I was like, how does Trey Mancini's like World Series like glory come at being a bench player for the Houston Astros? I hated it, but I guess it's like, okay, cool, you won a World Series, but why did they trade for Trey Mancini? They didn't even use him. It's like the same thing as like they didn't even use Christian Vazquez, like barely. It was like, okay, thank you, I'll take Willie or Abreu, but like you literally barely even used the players that you wasted assets on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because they have such good depth in that team too, that they don't necessarily need the good players that they go after.
Crazy. I hate it. I really thought this was going to be the year that, they weren't going to do it. But then it's pretty much just the fact is that Seattle doesn't have and then Seattle pretty much didn't Rodriguez go down. So Seattle has like absolutely no offense, elite pitching, but I think that they need to add people in. Like maybe they go out and get Luis Robert Jr., especially with, having like Rodriguez go down. Like, like they need offense. Like Seattle really needs offense to compete because I think it's Houston looked like ass, but I think it's Houston's division to lose.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And, honestly, I don't know why Seattle is even, I mean, I guess that division isn't great by any stretch. I mean, you've got the Angels and the A's in that same division, so maybe that is why they're up there in the rankings, but like that team on paper is not good. Especially
how great that video. Yeah. And he hasn't even been that great this year. He's a really slow starter. I mean, the same thing happened last year. It was like I questioned why he was at the All-Star game. The only reason he went there is because it was in Seattle. Was my, it's like, oh, okay. But then his second half was great. But now we're not going to know because he's like injured. It's like, so it's like everybody thinks he's a superstar. I think he's very fringe superstar. I've never seen, like, he's good looking, and that helps. Yeah, that really helps. You think that they're better than they are. Andrew Benintendi. It's a good looking factor. Can go a long way.
But hey, maybe because that division is so weak that the Astros do look good. But once they play other teams, if they, they make it in, and they're just going to get slaughtered the second they hit postseason because they're not that good.
Maybe I need somebody to slaughter the Yankees. So I would rather Houston slaughters the Yankees than the Yankees do anything. But that's the thing is that I even feel like, yes, granted, getting absolutely shellacked by a terrible team today. If the Red Sox make the right moves, I think they're the kind of team that can do what was it like in 2022 when, Philly just kind of snuck in there and then made it all the way to the World Series. Like that's something this Red Sox team can do. They're scrappy. They play hard. They just need to get, God, man, they just played like shit today all over. Like they made like 4 errors in like 4 innings. Like they just looked terrible. And that's the thing is it's very Jekyll and Hyde, but they're also very young. So you have to deal with that. That's why I want some, if you bring in Justin Turner, you're bringing in a little bit of, that veteran presence that could kind of say, hey guys, like what the hell, man. I just need those things to happen. I need my team to be added to, and I'm just terrified that they're not going to, because they did exactly the opposite of what was needed. They're not playing well post break, and it's, oh God.
Well, the White Sox are just going to be sellers. They're not adding anything.
I know. But I mean, it's like there's a part of me that would rather just be so bad that I'm like, okay, they're selling, or be so good that I know I don't like this bubble, like where it's like, okay, what are you going to do? Or maybe they're going to try to add and subtract. Like, no, that never works. So, God, man, it's just so frustrating. Like, just outside of today, that's been embarrassing. Most of these, like, last 6 games, they could have won at least 3 to 4 of them. Mm-hmm. Oh, it is 20-4. There we go. Woo! You did it, guys. You did it. Colorado's proud of you. Oh, God. But, yeah, so, like, that's the frustration of, like, where I am at with just how poor it's been post-break, knowing that I just don't trust that this is an ownership or a front office that's going to actually invest in them, when even getting shellacked for 20-4, that I still think they should be invested in, but just losing a series to Colorado Rockies, like what the actual F.
Yeah.
Oh God.
So we have both discussed the Tigers before we started recording, and I said, hold on, we need to save this. Yeah. Hey, I have a Tiger shirt too.
Mike Granderson. I love that man.
I got names are gone.
It's okay. It's late. It's later for you. You're a mother of 2. You're allowed to have woof brain.
My brain is it's gone. But yeah, we both talked about them, and they have a certain pitcher who is phenomenal right now, especially for this Tigers team. So is he going anywhere? Do you think he is?
I don't think he's going anywhere. I think the only pitcher that's going somewhere for them is Jack Flaherty, because he's a rental. It was a 1-year, $14 million contract. Tarik Skubal, I think they are just close enough that I don't think that it's beneficial to get rid of him. I mean, he's been so good this year. It's insane how good he's been. And it's like, okay. So he's probably the front runner for the Cy Young, especially since, couple stinkers from Tanner Houck. So, he's kind of slowly been pushing himself way back from potentially being in that conversation. I think it's probably Skubal's to lose at this point. So, man, it's just.
But do you think, because he's just on a 1-year contract right now, do you think they're going to pay him what he's worth?
I don't know how many years of control do they have over him, though? Or they don't have to pay him? Is this it?
No, this is it.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought. Oh, then that's different. I, for some reason, thought that they had a little more control over him. Oh, then if they don't have control, no, they have 2 more years of arbitration.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm looking at it now.
Okay, so yeah, no, then with the 2 years of arbitration, I don't, unless they get completely like blown over by something where, the only thing where I think that they say, is if Jackson Holliday is potentially like in a conversation.
That is exactly what I put. Could the Orioles use Jackson Holliday as a trade piece? Because again,
they have so much that Jackson Holliday is really, really good, but you have so much depth in that system. Or do they send Mayo? But like, man. And then that's the thing, is that they have Mayo and they have Jackson Holliday. Like, it's just an embarrassment of riches there.
Right.
That's potential. That's potentially a big thing.
Yeah, I feel like Holliday is going to be that trade piece. And I was talking to my son earlier while I was finishing up these notes I was writing. And I just kind of went over different ones that I had said with him. And he was like, don't the Orioles hate Jackson Holliday anyway? Because he had a bad, 4 days. And it was a bad 10 days because he was not ready.
It's kind of crazy that they brought him up shoved him down there and then haven't allowed him another chance. But that's the thing, is they've been playing so well without needing to give him that other chance. They still have like the best farm system in all of Major League Baseball, that giving up Jackson Holliday to get Tarik Skubal, the only thing is, if like Tarik Skubal had, because I'm always going to bring it back to vintage Chris Sale.
Yep.
And giving up so much talent for vintage Chris Sale, is that this is the first time that Tarik Skubal has like pitched this much. Mm-hmm. And I don't necessarily know if, like with Chris Sale, I guess it was also a little bit of a different time where you just let him throw it out there, air it out. And, you know, it's probably what led to some arm injuries. But he had already proved that he was so good. You know, Tarik Skubal has not necessarily proved time and time again how good he is for me potentially to give up Jackson Holliday. But again, they do, like we've said, the farm system is so stacked in Baltimore that, you know, why not? Why not give him? Why not have why not add that in? And then you add in Tarik Skubal, and I'm telling you, the Baltimore Orioles are winning the World Series.
I hadn't looked at his stats recently. He's a 5 WAR player, 2.34 ERA. Oh, that would be nice to have. So I was looking, just doing a little Google search on him, and there are plenty of articles like, what's his trade value? I'm looking to see what people are saying.
It is interesting, because I do think that, yeah, having Jackson Holliday allows the Baltimore Orioles to pretty much get whatever player that they want, like over any other team. Like, truthfully, outside of the Red Sox saying you can have Roman Anthony or Marcelo Meyer or Kyle Teal, I'm not even doing that for Tarik Skubal. But if I'm Baltimore, I'm probably doing it for Tarik Skubal.
Yeah. Looks like the Dodgers and Orioles want him, which, I mean, that makes complete sense. Here's another one. 3 contenders that can afford to take on Javi Baez. In case Skubal goes somewhere. No one wants that.
Oh, or he'll just be swinging when it's, 5 feet away from the plate.
Minnesota Twins could take on Javi for a price. I don't think they want him. Cleveland Guardians, they don't want him.
I don't think that Minnesota's good enough to give up your assets. Baltimore's good enough to give up your assets, especially
Baltimore's the other one, which, I guess Baltimore could take them and DFA them immediately, and it would not matter.
Yeah, no, and that's totally fine. But especially, Baltimore has the pieces to do it. And then if you're adding that in, they then have a 2-headed monster right there.
Yeah.
And that's going to be, especially in the playoffs, it's like really, really tough to go up against, So, because I'm thinking, because even like Grayson Rodriguez has been, not as great as he can be, but the idea of like Corbin Burns, Tarik Skubal, and then Grayson Rodriguez in there, that's potentially like a really solid 3 to be going in to a playoff series with. Like, good luck to like, damn, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So you're right that if you're willing to give up somebody like a Jackson Holliday, then I think it could be done. But if you're not willing to, then I think he's staying in Detroit.
Yeah, they would be silly to give him up at this point.
Yeah, unless it's for Jackson Holliday. Really, I would say he's going no. If you call me up, I'm like, hey, give me Jackson Holliday. Otherwise, absolutely not. Like, So
that would be interesting.
It's going to be a crazy next week just to kind of see where like everybody ends up going, and are there guys that we think are going to get traded that don't get traded, or, like what rentals aren't going to get traded that should, But I think with like the other person that's on Detroit, Jack Flaherty, is going to pain me, but I think that the Yankees are going to make a play for him. The Yankees need some pitching. He's just really nice to look at, so I don't want to have to look at him.
He is. My favorite was when he would be up playing the White Sox when Lucas Giolito was there, and they would just be like, they went to high school together and blah blah blah, and I'm like, they're both so pretty too.
Them and then you add in that was a handsome high school because you have the two of them, and then that's also where Max Fried went too.
Yeah, yep.
Damn,
We were all good friends.
Oof.
We're all babes.
Should have gone to that high school. Just a little too old and not have that kind of money because holy
I was
shit,
about to say I am
way too
old
old.
enough to probably be their mothers.
That's the thing is like now when they like come up and I'll be like, oh, he's cute, and I'm like, oh no, I can't think he's cute. He's a child.
I know, that's how I feel these days.
Like, oh god, no.
I saw Drew Thorpe and I was like, oh, he's a cutie. And then like Nick Nastrini was the other one. And I was like, oh, they're
You
cute.
look it up and
Oh, they're like 20. Never mind.
that was
I could technically be their mother.
Yeah, that was like Christian Campbell is on the Red Sox has just been playing out of his mind and he's been great. And I'm like, I just like had posted, I think he had like a 207 WRC plus or something. I'm like, that's obscene. And then you're gonna have that one asshole that's like, well, his batting average with balls in play is this number and it's astronomical and it's not blah blah. And I was like, I don't care, dude. What he's doing is still insane. He's also fast. So your batting average of balls in play are gonna be different when you have the amount of speed. So he's like, blah blah blah. And then he starts like just getting on me, being like, you just wanna have sex with him. I'm like, he's 22 years old, for fuck's sake.
He is too young.
I was like, this is a goddamn child. No, I don't. And then they never responded back to me because I'm like, that's a. And I love how immediately you like a player and you're a woman. It just means that you want to, have sex with them.
Yeah.
Gotta love that. Gotta love that. There are some, I'm not gonna lie, but not a 22-year-old who's still in AA. No, thank you.
So just the White Sox, they just brought up Brooks Baldwin. He's almost 24. I'm looking at that kid and I was like, he looks like he could be on my son's team. And my son is going to be a freshman in high school.
Isn't that crazy?
And I was like, this is just uncanny. And one of them
are babies. Like they're not only babies, they like look like babies. Where you're just like, oh.
And then like one of the White Sox beat writers, Scott Merkin, he writes for MLB.com. He met my son recently at a game because again, my kid wants to go into broadcasting. Radio, like one of those for sports, especially baseball. So I like introduced him to Scott, and Scott's brother was in radio too. So I was like, these are some cool like references people look up to. And Scott's like, yeah, if you ever have questions or just want to chat in general, just your mom knows how to get a hold of me. So Scott has met my son, and he actually liked that tweet about how he looks like he could be in Hayden's group of, it's like 13 to 16 in that age group. Because he looks like a baby.
Yeah, that happens. And then you're like, oh, God. That's like, the Yankees look even young. Like Alex Verdugo shaved his beard and suddenly he looks like he's 15. And you're like, wow, sometimes a beard will make people look old. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. But is there anybody else that you kind of wanted to like do a little chit-chatting about? Or do you think we got a good amount in there?
I think we got that. I mean, that's what I've got. Like I said,
pretty much. I was focusing on like the Red Sox, Dodgers, Yankees, Phillies, and like the Astros, pretty much. Yeah. And I think that your team is going to be one of the ones that gives away the most. Like who are the teams that are going to be willing to part with the talent that they have?
I'm worried. I mean, if they take both of the pitchers I mentioned. And they take Luis Robert Jr., there is no one to build a franchise around.
Yeah.
At all.
Mm-hmm. And do they care about that is like the other thing. And like you have to think that maybe they don't. And that's so shitty and unfortunate. Because at least like, the Red Sox, of course, traded away Mookie Betts. And I'll still stand firmly on the fact that no matter what, I don't think the Red Sox were going to ever re-sign Mookie Betts. So just try to get the value for him. He's happy as a goddamn clam because he's in freaking Los Angeles and he's on the Dodgers. So I thought you were going to lose him in free agency regardless of you giving him $400 million, which no. So I think that the Red Sox did the right thing by signing the correct franchise player. I think Rafael Devers was the easiest one to sign. I think had Dave Dombrowski not screwed up with Xander Bogaerts and that opt-out, things could have been a lot better, and you could potentially had the whole left side of your infield that you would have kept. But it is what it is. But I think of the three, the Red Sox signed the right one, and they do have somebody to build around. Whereas, like you're saying, who can the White Sox build around if they get rid of everybody? And that sucks.
Yeah, I mean, the farm is not super deep.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Paul DeJong was another one that's been on that kind of talk. He's like leading the team in home runs. We have
Yeah, that's right. He is.
Gavin Sheets, Andrew Vaughn, and Andrew Benintendi. And I don't know how much longer. I think both Eloy and Yohan Moncada they might be over. They might be free agents.
Yeah, if not, just maybe 1 year left.
Yeah,
control.
They're definitely around that. So, and
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
can't hit the ball in the air right now. So, like, who do they have that's even going to bring a person to a ballpark in the first place?
It's insane how promising they were. What, just like maybe like 2 seasons ago, was it?
Yeah.
And that's crazy how downhill fast they have gone.
You know, the White Sox, you know, on the broadcast and on Twitter and everything, anytime, you know, like Eloy hit a home run or Dylan Cease had a great game or like either one, it was always like, thanks, Cubs. Mostly Eloy hitting home runs. You'd be like, oh, thanks, Cubs, because they gave up, you know, Quintana for it. Still sad about that trade. Loved him too. But yeah, they got rid of the one and now the other is just constantly injured to the point where, like I said, he can't hit balls in the air right now.
Yeah.
His power is gone.
Yeah, that's frustrating. Yeah, that's frustrating. I just feel bad for fans. Like, you know, it's like, what do you have to look forward to? And like with the Red Sox, there's so much to look forward to. Yeah, you're going to get shellacked today. I never expected to win the World Series this year. I've just always been saying I wanted a competitive team. That's why I want things done at the deadline so the competitive team can keep going. And then you never know what happens once you get in the playoffs, especially with the playoffs being like it is now.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. I just want that I want to see good baseball. But the idea is that the Red Sox have a lot of really strong talent, quite literally like knocking on the door. Everybody is like, when are the big three going to get the promotion to Worcester? When are they going to AAA? And it's crazy to think that like 25, 26, like this team could be with you still need to add, you know, certain players in to mix with these young guys, but this team could be extremely elite in the extreme near future. And that's so exciting for me as a Red Sox fan that I can deal with, you know, how terrible like 2019, 2020, 2022, and 2023 were, knowing that this is coming. Whereas like, I feel bad when a team doesn't have anything and these fans love their team and there's just nothing to look forward to. Like, why are you going to waste your hard-earned money to go see that team, especially if there's nobody to see them play? Like, I loved Todd Helton in his speech for the Hall of Fame. He talked about how people spent their hard-earned money to see him play and how they appreciated that. But that was the thing, was the Colorado Rockies had Todd Helton and they had their Cinderella 2007. They had Troy Tulowitzki. Then they had Trevor Story. There were still people that you showed up to see play in Colorado. Who are you going to go see play in the White Sox if this deadline goes kind of haywire?
There's no one. And that, you know, it sucks being here. And then there was the other realization that when I was in Oakland, that ballpark was actually pretty neat. Like, I
didn't hate it. I've been there and I really didn't hate it at all.
Like, around it sucked, but the ballpark itself is actually like a pretty cool ballpark to go through. And between the three, so we went to Seattle, then we saw the A's and the Giants. Seattle was my favorite, but then it was Oakland.
Really?
Yeah. I liked it over the Giants. And I kept sitting there thinking, like, these fans deserve so much more because they still show up.
Yeah.
There was nothing at this point.
Their fans fest was insane.
Yeah.
It's just like being like, there are fans in Oakland. You are giving them nothing. And they would probably show up for you if your ownership wasn't so terrible. Like, they would go into your ballpark. They're now not going in to see their team because you are just giving them nothing, and you're proving like you want to rip it from them.
Yeah.
And that's, oh God, now they have to play on Sacramento next year, and their jerseys are just going to say Athletics home and away. And then, did Vegas even happen? I feel like it's still not 100%.
It's still not 100%. No, it's not. And I just, and they don't want to go to, like, fans do not want to go to Vegas.
That, and I remember some of the renderings was not a retractable roof.
Yeah.
You were going to die.
Yeah.
Like, there's no, like, you will die. Like, there's no, like, Arizona, when I went to see them, and it was beautiful, like, 65 degrees inside, I literally, like, my hotel was, like, right here, and the ballpark was right here, and I'm like, I could walk across the street. It was, like, 99 degrees, and I thought I was going to die in my walk across the street. Imagine sitting in the blazing hot sun of Las Vegas, right next to the friggin' MGM Grand. Yeah, no, put a damn roof on that thing.
They're ridiculous. I feel so bad, and they're so weird, because I think I talked about this last time. Like, I wore the shirt that says "Sell" from Oaklandish, and I just went to get a picture with Stomper, their mascot, because he's like the cutest mascot in Major League Baseball, and they were weird about me wearing that shirt. Like, his handler was weird about me wearing the shirt, and he was like, yeah,
you're literally going to get fired from being the handler of this mascot because your owner sucks.
But like, it came down from the front office. Like, they don't want that, like, being all over the place. Like, they won't pan to people with those flags. They don't want that shirt being seen. Stomper had to, like, put his arms basically around my chest, like, in this awkward motion to cover that word so I could get a picture with him. And the White Sox,
like, pretend like, car was stopping short and he was caught in the field.
Yeah, like a weird, awkward side hug. And the White Sox are now doing something really similar, because someone snuck in a beautiful banner that said "Sell the team," and it had a picture of Jerry Reinsdorf with a clown nose.
Love it.
And it was up for like maybe 5 seconds before, boom, take that down. And there were pictures, like, people got pictures of it. I've used it several times. But now people are being asked to, like, show their signs, unroll their blankets. Like, don't let that in the ballpark, basically, because they don't want that embarrassment.
That's so weird. But they're stranger, but like, all ballparks are really strange about signs, because this one guy brought in a sign about how Dom Smith has been playing relatively well in the absence of Tristan Casas, and his sign had said, it had said something along like, Dom Smith isn't the step first baseman, he's the first baseman that stepped up. And they claimed that the sign was too large, and they took it away from him. But then Rob Bradford caught wind of it, and now Dom Smith wants to, like, invite that guy onto the field, and he wants to sign it. But the idea of, like, oh, it's too, like, that's so stupid. It was clever. You thought it was stupid, so you're going to, like, take it away. But the idea of, like, censoring the fans. Like, I remember at Fenway, this was like years ago. My cousin and her boyfriend and I went to the game, and her boyfriend had you can take your 27 rings and shove it up your ass. And they made him, like, turn the shirt inside out. And of course, the minute you go into Fenway, you turn it right side. But it's like the idea of, like, oh no, that can't come in. That can't come in. And I was just like, why are we censoring the fans? If it's something super obscene and you don't want a child to see something, I completely understand that. But the idea of, like, these fans are angry because of what you are doing.
Also, in that case, you're in Boston. Like, they're saying that.
Of course, like, and like, your kid's gonna hear somebody say, "You're 7 rings, just shove them up your ass." You're gonna hear that sitting next to them at the ballpark, and it's like, you're just gonna, like, make.
I remember the Cubs selling some super racist. I mean, outside.
Oh, same.
In Wrigley, like, the vendors outside were selling some super racist shirts back in, like, I don't know, early 2000s to 2010s.
Yeah.
And people were so loud in the ballpark, like, very racist shirts revolving around, oh no, I can't say his name right, Fukudome. Just picture what it says on the back. And then stuff about, like, Albert
I
Pujols.
remember seeing
Yes.
that. Oh yeah.
And then like
Yeah.
Albert Pujols mows
Oh.
my lawn. And I'm like, that is so racist.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah.
We definitely had we wouldn't have racist ones outside of Fenway, but we would have like homophobic ones pointing towards A-Rod. And when it's A-Rod, I'm like, like this, because it would be like, oh, A-Rod slaps balls. But it also fits because he does slap balls.
Yes, yeah.
We would have ones like more homophobic centric outside of Fenway and less racist, surprisingly. Yeah. Mainly because it's like, what are you going to say? Pujols like mows my lawn when like David Ortiz is the best player on your team. Like, holy shit. Like,
yeah.
Like, but yeah, we would definitely have, but we would also have ones that were like sexual in nature, like in a positive thing with like I remember in like 2004 there would be shirts that said like I do porn with Bellhorn. Like Ortiz, yes please, and like things like this fanny's for Manny. We would have like funny little ones like that I remember seeing everywhere.
The most suggestive one I've ever seen, and my husband used to have it, but I don't think he has it anymore. He just had a Mets one with Mr. Met, and it said like chicks dig the long ball. And that was like as suggestive as I've seen them. Like again, Cubs, they also had stuff that were like referring to White Sox fans as like drug addicts.
Oh, what? That's not even funny. Like if you're gonna have like ones that are a little like racy, at least like have them be like kind of catchy. Like White Sox fans are into drugs. Oh, congratulations! It's not funny.
The only good ones they had. This was back when Ryan Terrio was on the Cubs. Mm-hmm. The only good ones they had were like the Quiet the Riot album cover, and then on the back it would say The Riot. Mm-hmm. Those are great.
Yeah.
They weren't racist. They weren't sexist. They were funny because that's what his last name looks like.
Like, literally. So
and he was used to that joke.
Yeah.
I think that was even like his Players Weekend.
The Riot or something.
I'm pretty sure it was The Riot, but man, some of these shirts are just
get better. Like, you're also upsetting me in like the creative department. You can do better.
Cubs fans.
But I definitely, at least outside of Fenway, like but then half of the team was Dominican. So like, what are you gonna like offend other Dominicans when like two of Manny Ramirez and David Ortiz are like huge, and Pedro Martinez, especially like 04, like 3 of your best players are from the Dominican Republic. So that would have been really questionable. But yeah, this was a fun one. I like talking a little bit about, we got into our teams, of course, like we always do, but kind of talking about like this next week and how it's going to be kind of crazy, and see if anything we kind of talked about, like, is Garrett Crochet going to be, wearing Dodgers across his chest and Chavez Ravine? We'll see.
He probably will be.
I know. Fuck the Dodgers. The Dodgers, I will never not hate the Yankees because it's ingrained in my soul as a Red Sox fan. But man, those Dodgers are getting real close. They're getting real close in my can't stand department.
Woof. All right. Well, follow along. Yell at us if we were wrong. I don't really care. Yeah, this is fun. We'll see you again sometime soon.
Bye.
Bye.